been waiting for. Please welcome the Pelbros Podcast.
Yo, thank you for tuning into episode 27 of the Pelbros Podcast. It's myself, James. Unfortunately today, just myself here, soloing the episode. If you haven't heard, Ryan has been a bit MIA. You have to check out episode 26 to find out what's happening. But yeah, hopefully he's deep in his studies, deep in his re-education. Hopefully enjoying that. And yeah, it'll just be myself soloing a few episodes of the podcast going forward, and hopefully Ryan will make a comeback. So yeah, just hoping all the best for Ryan at the moment. Episode 27, we're going to be jumping into lots to talk about this week. There was a whole bunch of games. I think about 5 games since we last recorded the pod. Got a bit of housekeeping we want to get out of the way, and then at the end of the episode we'll be going through our future predictions on how we see the next 3 or 4 games for the Pelicans panning out. Just to quickly get some housekeeping out of the way, it's pretty much in the title of the episode already, but you know, we're celebrating. I mean, Ryan's busy at the moment, but you know, he's been able to keep in touch with the socials, and we're celebrating triple digit subs on YouTube. So definitely deserving of a round of applause. Yes, 100 subs. We just hit it, I think, yesterday. Definitely a big shout out to all our YouTube subs. If you haven't already subbed there, haven't checked out our content, definitely check it out. Just type in Pelbros Podcast into YouTube. You'll find tons of content. We upload all our episodes there if you want something a bit more visual or want to listen off YouTube. And we actually upload a bit of bonus content. So lots of YouTube videos up there. There's a few discussion topics that we don't upload via the podcast channels, and they go exclusively to YouTube. So a big shout out to everyone who's checked out our stuff. We have a few highlight videos there that are going viral, quote unquote, that are pretty much exploding at the moment. Shout out to the subs, and shout out to everyone that's listening. So shout out to Ryan and myself. We've been putting in quite a lot of work onto our YouTube, trying to dedicate a bit more time there, because we see that as a pretty open channel, and pretty good platform for us to reach to our viewers and to you guys. So definitely check that out. Just really quickly, a brief, Ryan, while he's been MIA, getting educated, has managed to sneak in a bit of a message. This is definitely a momentous occasion. We kind of saw it coming. But yeah, after we saw that 99 finally tick over to 100, definitely got a secret message from him. So we'll just quickly hear from Ryan right now.
Hello, James. Can you hear me, mate? Hey, man. This is your friend. This is your pal, the other Pelbro, Ryan. Man, I'm just leaving this quick voice message from the re-education camp, man. They treat us real good, man. Like we get fed 3 times a day. I think there's a girl here that actually likes me, but she might be a guy. I'm not too sure. But that's not the point, man. Like I'm learning about like A, B, C, D, E, F, G, all these new things. I'm learning like there's other ways to express myself than saying fuck. It's wonderful, bro. And they actually teach me about how much of a great person Hitler was, and Stalin. So that's quite interesting too. I'm actually quite inspired. Anyways, that's the re-education camp. But bro, I just wanted to quickly say, bro, 100 fucking subs. Fuck to the yeah. So shout out to yo ass. Oh, sorry, I gotta go back down to my re-education. Shout out to you, my good friend. Shout out to me. And shout out to all you motherfuckers tuning in, bitches. Let's keep it going. 100. Let's go fucking 100K. 100 fucking mil. Like my bank account. Peace, bitches. We're coming back soon.
Yeah, quick snippet from Ryan. It's good to hear from you, mate. Congrats on the 100 for both of us. But anyways, that's enough housekeeping out of the way. We'll quickly jump into the games and our predictions from last week. So in last episode 26, we made a few predictions. I think we said it was going to be a pretty balanced week from what we saw in those games. So last week we recorded, it was just after the Dallas game. We had Detroit, Memphis, Portland, Phoenix coming up, and we made a prediction for those 4 games. We were saying 2-2. And, we were unfortunately incorrect. There were a lot of things that we were right about, which I'll touch on in a moment. I actually am going to talk about the Boston game today as well, because I'm recording this one day late, and I did actually manage to catch a bunch of that game. So, we're covering that. But fortunately, we predicted a win against Detroit. We were pretty much saying this is an automatic win. Detroit are the worst record in the league at that time. And yeah, we were just saying it's an automatic win. Unfortunately, Pels being the Pelicans that they are, we took a fat L in this game to cap off a 3-game losing streak after the 2 losses to Chicago and Detroit from the week prior. 123 to 112, losing to Detroit. Really, this should have been a must-win game. It's like one of those games that we dropped last season, where we were saying that these are the kind of games that are going to be important for our playoff race, our playoff push. That set us back at 11 to 15 in the records, which wasn't that great. BI, Zion both having typical games for them, 26 points each, but really it's just about the rest of the team not stepping up in this game. Bledsoe, we've been saying trade Bledsoe for a while now. 1 of 9 from the field, 6 points. Just really not contributing much at all. And then the bench, we're not really playing that deep of a bench. JJ, want to give a shout out to him for sucking in this game. 8 minutes, 1 of 4 from the field, 0 for 2 from the 3. Spend less time on your podcast, mate. Get back to shooting the ball in the gym. I will say that shout out to JJ because he has been improving slowly, and we'll go over that. But yeah, that's pretty much the Detroit game wrapped up. Didn't get to see much of it, but overall, just a loss. It seemed like Detroit had a much team-oriented game. They really, their bench played really well and out-hustled our guys. I think Josh Jackson killed it. 21 points for him. Definitely shout out to Detroit. And hoping, big fan of Jeremy Grant, so hoping he gets some MIP honors also. Moving on to the next game against the Memphis Grizzlies. So this was an easy call for us at the time. We said easy win, quote unquote. We always destroy Memphis and we always just have their number. And that's pretty much just what happened this game. 144, yeah, you heard that right, to 113. So pretty much a blowout game, 31-point win. Zion, probably MVP for this game. Co-MVP would, I'd say, Josh Hart, but Zion, 31 points, 13 of 16 from the field, 1 of 1 from the 3, 4 of 4 from the free throw. Absolutely killed it in terms of efficiency, like he has been for the whole past, I'd say, month or so. But yeah, my boy Josh Hart getting minutes off the bench. So shout out to Stan for finally, playing Josh his 30 plus minutes. Like we said in one of the previous games against Houston, he played I think almost 40 minutes or so. 27 points, 10 of 16 from the field, 9 rebounds, plus minus of 30. My boy absolutely killed it. So 6 3-pointers as well. Josh Hart, huge shout out. Definitely think he should get a starting spot at some point. Bledsoe has been very inconsistent, hit or miss. You could see him opening up some minutes for Josh in the starting lineup and letting Bledsoe run that second unit. And this is one of those kind of games that proves it. Josh Hart's out there hustling. He's playing like much bigger for his size, almost like a power forward center out there. He's usually got the defensive assignment of their better players. So yeah, huge shout out to him, and then also to Lonzo Ball. He didn't really stuff the stat sheet that hard. 13 points, 5 of 12 from the field, 2 of 7 from the 3-point, but also plus minus of 30. So that just means that when he's out there, the team was absolutely killing it, and the team was actually putting us into the lead. Quick shout out to Moran. He definitely had a bounce back game after that previous encounter that we had with him, where Lonzo just locked him down, and he couldn't really score. In this game, 28 points, 12 of 16 from the field, so he definitely got his own. But it was really the rest of the team that couldn't produce. He was trying to hard carry that Memphis team, and yeah, unfortunately for him, just didn't pan out for us, but definitely good for the Pelicans. Moving on to the third game, which was against Portland. This was an easy call at the time. I pretty much said that I'm confident that Damian Lillard would go off and he would absolutely crap on us. We had pretty much just given up a 46-point game to Zach against Chicago, and then gave up another 46-point game against Luka. If any other superstars coming up, they were definitely going to torch us. And this was pretty much the game that proved that. Against Portland, Damian Lillard's been playing like an all-star this year. He didn't get all-star starter position just because of fan votes. So I think Luka got that over him. So a bit of a quote-unquote, I guess, snub, you could say. But yeah, Damian Lillard just showing us, why he's all-star caliber. We pretty much said that this game, both Ryan and I, that this is the first encounter we have with Portland in the regular season without Drew. And we all know, Drew Holiday, shout out to him, was pretty much a Portland killer, a Trailblazer killer. He just always locked down Dame, couldn't let him get off. Without Drew this game, it still was a very, very close game. Went down to the wire. We only lost by 2 points, so 126 to 124. But there was no one to lock down Damian Lillard. 43 points, 16 assists. It's absolutely crazy. 14 of 28 from the field, 7 3-pointers. Just absolutely killing it. Zion Williamson, on our side, he matched his career high of 36. So another efficient game, 12-18 from the field. Zion's been absolutely smashing it. Pretty much getting 30 points per game plus for the past few weeks. 11 of 15 from the free throw, which is pretty crazy. Pretty much shooting like, I think 80% plus this season and getting to the line way more and being really aggressive. But unfortunately, it just wasn't enough. BI was a bit cold this game, 4 of 12 from the field, 14 points. And unfortunately, he missed one of his game-winning attempts. And by the end of this game, I did manage to catch towards the end of the game. It was pretty sloppy in terms of that end of the game, plays and timeout calls that we were making in true Pelicans fashion. But yeah, unfortunately he didn't have a great game. BI that was. Lonzo had to step up, 21 points, 7 of 14 from the field, 5 3-pointers. So Lonzo's been playing exceptionally well ever since those trade rumors come out, and he's trying to pull his weight here, where BI couldn't. But yeah, unfortunately not enough to get over the Blazers, who unfortunately they don't have Nurkic and CJ McCollum. So in reality, we really shouldn't be dropping these kind of games. But like we said, if you got a superstar like Damian Lillard, he's going to kill us, and he did, as well as Gary Trent Jr. also putting in 23 points, 5 3-pointers as well. So yeah, one thing I'll quickly touch on, which I forgot to mention, that we've been saying pretty much like a broken record for the past 2 or 3 episodes, is just the fact that the Pelicans and Stan's defensive scheme at the moment is just really letting up a ton of 3-pointers. I don't have to say that. I think everyone knows it. Anyone who watches it has seen us get torched. Every team pretty much becomes like Steph Curry. We said Jay Crowder has gone off crazy, but definitely a lot of guys on other teams just matching up, sizing up, and I think coaches' game plans these days are just shoot threes. And we saw that. I'll quickly go back to the Pistons game. So they shot 17 threes of 35 at 48%, whilst we struggled 9 of 35, 25%. So yeah, they absolutely torched us there. Against Memphis, we were efficient this game, so we actually scored 19 3-pointers off 38, so 50%. We only allowed 13 3-pointers from Memphis, but honestly, Memphis isn't a very 3-point heavy team, so that's a bit understandable. And then against the Trailblazers, we allowed 18 threes of 41 shots, and that's 7 going to Lillard and 5 going to Gary Trent Jr. We scored 15 threes, but in the end, it's pretty much a lot of these losses are coming down to those 3-pointers, and the fact that we're giving up so many and losing out on points there, and especially games where we go cold from the 3. That's pretty much just where the difference is between us and other teams at the moment. And that became extremely evident in this next game against the Phoenix Suns. So in our predictions from last episode, we did actually say that we were going to drop this game. So we were calling a 2-2 record. Ironically, it's unfortunate that the Pistons are the one that we really thought we were going to win and we lost that one. But with Phoenix, we did think that we were going to drop this game. I think we were 1-1 against them for the season already, but we know the kind of star power that they have. Chris Paul, Devin Booker's been back and he's been playing really well, averaging almost 30 points on pretty good efficiency. We know that Jay Crowder has typically always gone off at us and kind of must hate Nola or the franchise itself. And this game was really evident of that 3-point margins that I was talking about, just touching on just now. Managed to catch most of this game. ironically, when I started tuning in the second half, we were tied, and then going into, I believe, the third quarter or fourth quarter, we just completely gave up the lead. So again, the curse of me watching games is back to bite the Pelicans in the ass. But really, yeah, this game was pretty much just the CP3 show. If I'm being honest, Devin Booker was getting hot pretty early. He had almost 20 points with, I think, 3 quarters to go, but unfortunately he had a lot of fouls. So he racked up 4 fouls, I believe, in the third quarter, and he actually ended up sitting for a lot of that fourth quarter and a lot of that third quarter. So it looked like, there's definitely a good chance of us taking it. We were going into the fourth quarter pretty much almost tied with a slight lead, actually. But unfortunately, the Suns and Chris Paul, ex-Pelican or ex-New Orleans Hornets player, he just took over. Simple as that. Showing how good he really is, his veteran leadership. 15 points for him, 19 assists. Yes, you heard that right, 19 assists. But really, the fourth quarter is what defined this game. Like I said, we were pretty much going into that fourth quarter tied, but the Phoenix Suns outscored us 41-12 in the fourth quarter alone. Yeah, you heard that right as well. 41 points to 12. At one point, we were on 7 points, and they had scored like 36. Yeah, it was pretty ridiculous. So, pretty depressing fourth quarter. We had kept the game so competitive throughout those first 3 quarters that we were hoping for at least a rally or a fight. This game was without Steven Adams, so Willie Hernan-Gomez was starting, and Jackson Hayes played 20 minutes as well. But reality is it came down to the threes. That fourth quarter was really about the guards. So Chris Paul, Jay Crowder he's probably a forward now, but those 2 guys really just put on crazy, ridiculous 3-point shots. Cam Johnson hit a few as well, and most of them were pretty much contested shots as well. So they weren't exactly free 3 points free shots that we were giving away. We were contesting them, but definitely need to improve our rotations. But yeah, overall, Chris Paul just ran the pick and roll, pulled up, doing his fadeaway mid-range shots and just absolutely torching. Essentially, no one could defend him. And with him dribbling around and getting into that pick and roll action, he just found guys open while we were playing help defense, while we were rolling on double teams. Yeah, it was absolutely just a torching of the Pels in that fourth quarter. Pretty depressing to watch. Pretty much just a breakdown on all cylinders. We couldn't get any of our shots up. We were really just looking. Our offense really in that fourth quarter was really just stagnating, and we're going back to typical Pelicans fashion of running ISO pick and rolls with the guys all standing on the corner of the 3, waiting for a pass to go out. In the end, not bad games from our 2 stars, BI and Zion. Zion had 23 points, 8 of 11, super efficient. Probably should have been fed the ball a lot more towards the end there. But they defended him pretty well. And then Brandon Ingram, 25 points, 10 of 20 from the field. He was probably the main guy in this game. And really, yeah, it was really about the rest of the team and our bench really not being able to step up. So Lonzo also had a good game, 21 points, 6 of 13 from the field, 6 of 12 from the 3-pointer, so killing it from that 3-point shot. 12 assists as well, double-double. He was the only guy also not in negative plus-minus, which means that when he was on the floor, it was pretty much break-even. But really, that bench not playing too well at all. Measly, Wenyen Gabriel, all getting some minutes. Kyrie Lewis, he as hype as we have been for him to get those minutes, unfortunately 0-8 from him from this game, 0 points, minus 10 plus minus. He just couldn't hit his shots. Probably got 20 minutes too many since he only played 19. But unfortunately, he's going to have games like that. He's still a rookie, still early days. But yeah, the Suns hitting 22 3-pointers off 39 shots, so 56%. Absolutely insane. Whereas, the Pels only hitting 11 of 32 3-pointers in this game. So, season high for CP in assists. It definitely took almost like a record-breaking quarter for them to really take us down. We really didn't show up in that fourth quarter. But yeah, if there's anything from these past 4 games going on that 1-3 run, it really comes down to the 3-pointers. Defense. This team has no problem at all scoring the bucket. We saw that with the Memphis game, scoring 144 points, where all almost all the guys on the team scored a bucket in that game. Actually, everyone who was active on that game scored a bucket. So really, we've seen them play that team ball. We can put up 124 points against the Blazers as well, but it's the defense that we're really lacking. And the same thing we echo from last season, where our offense was fine, but we were giving up almost 115 points a game. This stretch was pretty much similar. We're giving up over 120 points to 3 of those 4 teams. It's unfortunately just not good enough in terms of defense. Definitely Stan's got some changes he needs to make, some adjustments. His focus this season at the start of the season was on defense, and unfortunately it's been purely on help defense and really trying to get those guys to figure out how to play help and figure out how to double, make sure that we're not letting easy buckets in the paint. But unfortunately that's sacrificed the 3-pointer, which we're giving up I think almost 16 shots a game, and the most attempts from any team across the league. I think 42 to 43 attempts per game for other teams. And we didn't predict this from last week because this was outside of that 1 week range, but because I'm recording this one day late in a sense, I did manage to catch the game against the Celtics today, where the Pelicans threw a massive comeback in order to get the dub. So huge game for the Pelicans. It wasn't looking too great. We had a really shitty first quarter, went really well. We had a really shitty second quarter, 33-19, where we lost a big lead, and it wasn't looking too hot at that time. And at one point we were down by 24 points, and we somehow got the dub. So this game this is pretty much record-breaking game as well, and it marks the largest comeback in our franchise history for the Pelicans. So down 24 points in the third quarter and managing to make a comeback. And really this was led by our 2 stars, potential all-star for both of them, Zion and BI. So Zion with 28 points, 11 of 21 from the field. He played 40 minutes. He was pretty much insane down the stretch. They were going to him to try and look for easy buckets when the game was getting tied, and all we needed to do was go down to our end, get a bucket, and then go down the other and get a stop. We'd look to Zion or BI. Zion in particular, he'd look to draw fouls, which I thought was great. 6 of 10 from the free throws, so not amazing, but still pretty good, enough to get us over the line. And then BI, 33 points for him. He played 43 minutes, 11 of 22 from the field, decently efficient. 6 of 6 from the free throw. Hit a few clutch 3 throws at the end there. Is really those 2 guys, really causing a menace for the Celtics, and they really couldn't stop him. A lot of fouls in this game were being called. It was a pretty rough game, pretty physical game. Again, another shout out to Josh Hart, 17 points, 37 minutes, 5 of 10 from the field, and he had the tough assignment of actually defending Jason Tatum. Do want to give a quick shout out to Jason Tatum as well. He was pretty much cold all game for the first, I'd say, 2 quarters or so, and then really down that stretch, it went into OT as well. It was basically all Jason Tatum. Brad did say at some point that although Jason's cold, if it comes down to those clutch moments, they're going to go to him. He's their all-star. He's their number 1 player. They did bring in Kemba. Jaylen Brown's really finding his own this season, but in the end, Jason Tatum's their best player on that team. And down that stretch, he was insane. He was hitting tough shot after tough shot. Josh was all over him on defense, playing the best defense he could, and really it wasn't enough. Tatum found a way to get free, get even like a blink of space, and really just put up tough shots. So big shout out to him. He was trying to keep them alive, but yeah, overall great win for the Pelicans. It was looking pretty depressing through that at halftime. We were down by I think almost 14 or 16 or so. It was pretty depressing. I know one of the guys in our chat ended up turning off the game at some point because he was feeling the depression of the Pelicans at that point. But yeah, luckily he tuned back in and managed to see a big comeback. This is also a game again without Steven Adams, so Willie had to pick up those starting minutes. Didn't play that great, but still picked up 13 rebounds. He's definitely got to find his own, but really with Steven Adams, this team is really more complete. Overall great win. Puts us at that week with 2 wins, 3 losses, so still under 500, unfortunately. We are currently sitting at, let me just quickly calculate that, 11th on 13 and 17. So, the tricky part here is really chasing Dallas and the Grizzlies. The Grizzlies are sitting on 13 and 13. They had a whole bunch of games cancelled by COVID, so who knows what's going to happen at the end of the season. It might end up being by winning percentage, but and then Dallas is above us on 13 and 15. We just got torched by them, but really, we predicted this before the season started. The Pelicans are going to be vying for a playoff play-in spot rather than an actual top 7 seed. Really, we're going to be looking for that play-in tournament where we can try and snag an 8th seed off someone like potentially Golden State, maybe San Antonio. One of those teams are going to be slipping towards the bottom there, maybe even Denver. So, yeah, who knows? But really, we're getting to that point where we do need to win every game. It sounds like we say that all the time. But, we can't be dropping those games like the Pistons. Games like against the Blazers, against the Suns, it's understandable. Those guys are playoff contenders. They're sitting at 4th and 5th respectively at the moment. So, definitely those games are understandable. We as long as we keep them close, we will match up with them more often down the stretch. But yeah, easy games like 8-14 record Detroit. 8-22 record Detroit. Those are absolute must wins, and hopefully Stan goes back to the drawing board, finds out what's wrong, figures it out, because ironically, and moving into the next section, a bit of a segue right there, we are facing Detroit our next game. So like I said, we just played Boston today, which is the 22nd for Oz, 21st for America of Feb. We have a 3-day break to play Detroit, and I'll just quickly go into the predictions for the next week of games. Let's just say till our next record, which I'm going to say next Monday as well. So that's pretty much 3 games against Detroit, Milwaukee, and San Antonio. With that 3-day break, with us coming off a win against Boston, we have experience playing Detroit. We kind of, Stan will go back to the drawing board, figure out what the adjustments he needs to make. This, has to be a dub. This is actually a home game as well, and there are fans now at home games, so there's definitely a home advantage. I think the Pelicans just upped their fan capacity in the stadiums recently. So yeah, this definitely is a must-win game. I'm going to call a dub against Detroit. Probably make the same mistake. Who knows? Let's see what happens next week. Whether, clearly I haven't learned my lesson, but calling a dub against Detroit. Next game after that is actually a back-to-back against Milwaukee. Not just because this is Milwaukee, but basically purely on the fact that this is a back-to-back. Got to call this as a loss. We have seen us call back-to-back predictions and say that we're losing just because every time we play on a back-to-back, we absolutely suck. Happened to Detroit. Happened against Houston. Happened against Chicago. Giannis is probably going to go off this game. Drew already gave us that first win against Milwaukee, so doubt he's going to do it again. Calling a loss against Milwaukee for the game on the 26th or 25th for America, and then game after that, last game for the week against San Antonio. Yeah, this one is a tricky one to call. So this one's a 2-day break after the Milwaukee game. San Antonio currently in the top 8. They are sitting at 6th. Oh man, the optimism in me wants to call a win. I think I know we can definitely beat San Antonio, but they've always had our number in a sense. So I think this comes down a lot to coaching as well. Pop's always managed to outcoach us, and they've always had players that just go off at us. I remember last year, LaMarcus, the corpse of Aldridge would somehow manage to score 30 points on us. And then one of the games earlier this season against San Antonio, we did take a dub against them. But I do remember Patty Mills, I think it was, going off this game. So somehow they find a way to find players who will just step up for them. My prediction for this game, I'm gonna have to say, I think it's a dub. We want to end up this week 2-1, getting the easy win against Detroit, hopefully. Losing a game against Milwaukee, but these are the kind of games, again, you got to beat those guys that are towards the bottom of that 8. 8 seed, 6, 7, 8 seed, as well as the guys who aren't in the playoff contention. So yeah, I'm gonna call a win. Zion's really finding his own. He's really making it his team. This duo of Zion and Ingram are really figuring it out. They're really figuring out whoever is dominating that night deserves to get the ball. And really, the more they play together, the better they're gonna get. So yeah, gonna call a win. Gonna call 2-1 for the week. And yeah, that just puts in my predictions for next week. So yeah, hopefully next week I'll have another episode. Don't know if Ryan will be back by then, but if not, then hopefully I'll be able to do the same thing here. Yeah, hopefully you enjoyed that 30 minutes of listening to me talk alone. Thanks for bearing with me. But yeah, this will be the new norm for a few weeks. If you enjoyed what you like, definitely give us a follow, give us a subscribe. Find us on all channels, Instagram at Pelbros. Already shouted out our YouTube channel, but definitely check that out. Just hit 100 subs, so we're hopefully going to grow that to 500, 1K. Who knows? Definitely check that out. And yeah, pelbros.com for everything else. Pelbrospodcast at gmail.com for all inquiries, or if you want to get a bit more formal, or any feedback, definitely hit us up. That's pretty much it. It wraps up the episode. Yeah, I'll catch you on the next one. Laters.